Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Welcome to today's episode of the Elite Executive Podcast. We are back in Vic Park, and this time we have another Irish guest, which might not be a surprise given my recent run, but we've got Niamh Murphy on. How are you?
Good, thank you for having me.
Mate, we've been connected on LinkedIn for a while.
Yeah.
We had a brief conversation about, I think you said, we grew up pretty close together, but that was the extent of it. And then we said, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
And we finally got here. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I didn't chicken out.
You didn't. We
I
nearly
arrived.
did. We nearly
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
But I think just you had a busy day yesterday, and then you're like, no, I got a lot of stuff done, so let's do
Yeah.
it anyway. So
I didn't think I'd get, and if I'm distracted, I don't want to be present.
yeah.
And if yesterday hadn't went well, I wouldn't have been present today, and I wouldn't have been here. So
Well, that's fair.
literally,
That's
yeah.
fair. And I guess that's like part of what I'm used to with dealing with the type of people that we
Yeah,
work
true.
with, is that they might not make a call at the last minute, or you might get a phone call saying, I'm traveling or can't do that thing or whatever it is. You just have to roll with the punches.
but
So
I hate-
I wouldn't have held it against you.
I know, but you hate not. I hate letting anyone down. Do you know what I mean? I hate
Yeah,
not
fair.
committing, but
Well, you're here, and we've had a good chat there for 15 minutes
Yeah.
prior, and we're warmed up and we're ready to go. So
yeah.
let's rock and roll. So tell us, who is Niamh?
So Niamh is, I just see myself as a machine operator that's seen a little gap in the market and just was stupid enough to quit my job to
To
pursue
chase
it. I think there's a lot of people thinking about, setting up a training company like mine for a very long time. And that shows actually once I set up, there was quite a couple popped up after.
Yeah, right.
So I suppose the gamble paid off, thankfully. But ex-machine operator that ended up in supervision on mine sites and seeing how bad the training industry actually was. And it was actually putting me and all of my team and business in serious, putting serious liability on us. And I didn't want to lose my house for any dodgy tickets. So
Sure.
I decided I just winged it. And leased a machine, and when I'm, balls deep in it.
Yeah.
Like, nearly 3 years later, 5 machines on a wee mine site, and training as many people as we can, I suppose, to operate safely and properly. Yeah.
Brilliant. And there's something about just taking that leap of faith and just backing yourself, and the fact that people popped up and then tried to copy and try to get into the space after you'd spotted that shows
Yeah.
you're onto something. So
And you have to look at it that way. You have to be flattered that people agree that yes, this is a winner and this needs to be done. So you have to switch it and be
yeah,
what's the word? Flattered, not pissed off.
sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about coming to Australia, because I'm sure there's loads of stories and loads of experience in between before we get to the current day. So when did you come to Australia? Let's start there.
So 2013.
Yep.
So
What sparked the move?
I wanted to. This is gonna be some completely alien. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be on stage, and now bloody TikTok is my stage. But I wanted to be either a singer or an actress, and I wanted to go to RADA in London. So it was one of the best schools, and this is kind of like a common recurring theme in my life. I want to be the best at everything, so I wanted to go to the best school, and I didn't want my parents to pay for it in case it didn't work. Maybe I was
Yeah.
no good. So I wanted to pay for it myself. So I thought all my mates, the boys, I always hung about with the boys, they all came out to Australia maybe the year before me, and they all got into the mines. And I was like, oh, well, I'm just like them, so I'll just, like what everyone thinks, I'm just going to go to Australia and go straight into the mines and make all this money.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. So it was to pay for that school was the reason I actually came here originally,
Yeah,
and
right.
I'm still here,
Yeah, fair.
13 years later.
Running your own gig, and this
know.
is your stage now, right?
I know.
Training people up and doing that.
And now I'm going, why did I want to be famous?
Yeah.
I hate having a public profile. I hate getting scrutinised. But listen, that's the price you have to pay for, I suppose, building a business. You have to put yourself out there and
Yeah, 100%.
yeah,
100%.
take it on the chin. But I just don't read comments anymore. So, and my life is so much better since I stopped reading comments. Honestly,
That's a good idea
Yeah,
to just
yeah.
switch off completely.
that's
So.
what my boyfriend said. He was like, "Do you ever listen to Joe Rogan?" He would say, "What do you say? Post and ghost. You don't read the comments."
Yeah, fair.
No one reads the comments. So yeah, that's my biggest takeout over the last year.
Brilliant. And then, so when you come out, you said you didn't make all this money straight away on the mines. What did you do when you come out, and did you come straight to Perth?
I came straight to Perth,
Yeah.
and my first job was sales. door knocking for the Breast Cancer Foundation.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so we were 100% commission.
Yeah. Right.
So unless you worked hard, you didn't make any money.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then what did I do then? I took a sales job in Kalgoorlie
Okay.
because I wanted to work in mining. I always wanted to get into mining, and I was applying for the company that all the boys went to work for. There must have been 20 of them working in there,
Yeah. Right.
and no one would give me a go. I just couldn't understand this. I was like, why are they not? Like, what? I didn't think I was different back
Yeah.
then. I just thought I was the same as all the boys and everyone. So I took that job door knocking in Kalgoorlie to get in front of the right people, and every sales pitch I chickened out and I didn't ask.
All
All
right.
I wanted to do was like, oh, I'd love to work in mining. Would you give me a go doing anything? But I still say that to my students. If they go to Kalgoorlie and they went door knocking, they'd get a job.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
Yeah. So I did sales for a while, and then my first kind of job in the industry was traffic control.
Right.
Only because of a referral. Only because I had no qualifications. I didn't even have a white card.
Mhm.
And one of the boys was operating for them, and he's like, "Oh, we need a traffic controller." And I remember spending like the last of my money on like a white card and
Yeah. Yeah.
no, actually I got a pair of boots off my parents for my 21st birthday. And off I went to the bush. Yeah, for my
Yeah, right.
21st I was sitting on the side of the road with a stop slow bot. Yeah, and that was
Right.
the start of the industry for me.
What was next then?
So the traffic control wasn't really long lived. I said to the owner, I was like, I can't do this. I can't. My head couldn't. I have such an overactive mind. I've ADD, so I just couldn't sit in. And my phone was dead at 10 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I said, listen, if you don't put me on a machine, I have to go. I have to leave. I can't mentally do this.
Yeah. Right.
And he was like, get up there, just get in. And there's no training. And I was like, I have to learn. I have to learn how to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So started on a roller. I was on skid steers and trucks with them as well. The boys had no patience for me. I was asking all these questions, like, oh, she's so annoying. But and that was the start of it. So I travelled over Western Australia with that company. They were a cowboy outfit. Like
Right.
there's no safety, no tickets, no nothing. You just sink or swim.
Yeah.
And the owner used to say, why do you work for me? Like, these boys are rough. Why do you want to work here? The conditions are awful. And he knew it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I need to do this. Like, how else am I going to get this exposure? And I needed to do my 88 days. So I stayed with them until I did my 88 days. And my two friends were living the life. They were backpacking up the west coast, and they got as far as Darwin. And on one of my weeks off, I went to Darwin to meet them. And we flew to Sydney together, and then that was kind of the start of the next chapter.
Yeah.
I
Right.
got into operating in Sydney then.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So how was that different with the Sydney outfit versus obviously it was your first experience in Perth, but operating in Sydney, like where are we talking in Sydney? Like obviously it's going to be completely different to Kalgoorlie.
Well, I had operated around no procedures and I was just winging it, and I feel like that company were as well.
Yeah.
So when I went to Sydney, I actually hadn't operated the machines that I wanted to operate. So I heard there was two girls driving dump trucks on Port Botany in the city, and I just said to one of the boys, can you find out who they're working for? So he got me the boss's number, and I rang the boss, and I was like, hey, listen, I hear you've got two girls working for you on them dump trucks in Port Botany. Will you give me a job? And he's like, can you operate one? And I goes, I can't, but I can operate rollers, water carts, skid steers. I've been on site in WA for however long. And he goes, come out to the yard on Saturday. I'll give you a task. If you can do it, you start Monday.
Right.
So I had to get about 3 forms of public transport to this site in the middle of nowhere. And he just gave me a wee job, and he came back. I could do it, and I didn't have a ticket then either.
Yeah.
Over
Right.
there, I don't think at the time, tickets were a big thing either.
Yeah.
And then that was the start of operating over there in Sydney. That was the best job I was ever on. It was full of Irish, and it was fun. Like, it wasn't toxic. Everyone got on, and it was just so much fun.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So lifestyle, let's steer away from the work side for a minute, but just going from you came to Perth and you experienced that, and then you go over to the big smoke, right? Like different lifestyle in terms of how busy it is, how big it is.
Yeah.
How did you find that change from, and I imagine WA, especially rural WA, would have been very slow, very different pace, especially back then before the city's got what it is now?
That's a good question because I remember when I first landed in Sydney, we were staying in a hostel in Bondi, and I was like, I hate this. I hate it here. It was so unfamiliar, and I suppose it didn't take me long. Once I got that job, and I had a bit of a community,
Yeah.
and I had friends, and that I loved it,
Yeah.
and it was a wild five. So that was actually came and gone from Sydney to Perth a couple of times chasing the work. So that wasn't. I did then move to Sydney in 2015, full time for 5 years
Right.
during the downturn here, and I chased work around Australia because still I was on the backpacker visa. I still could only work anywhere for 6 months.
Yeah, right.
So lifestyle, loved Sydney lifestyle probably too much. And it got to the point where when I moved back to Perth the first time, I was like, if I don't move back to Perth before the end of this second year visa, I'm going to end up having to go home. So I spent the last of my money on a flight back to Perth. I had nothing when I came back here then that time as well to try and get sponsored or try and get a way to stay. I was living in this shared house with no one that spoke bloody English. I had no car. Like I was
Yeah,
on the
right.
bones of my arse at that point, and I
Yeah.
just partied for however long, and I had to come back to Perth here
Yeah, right.
to get staying in this country.
So how did you get to stay? What's the story there?
At this point, we are probably a year and a half in till my 2 years here. There was no third year holiday visa then.
Okay.
So I had 6 months and still hadn't got into the mines. And that was the original plan. You know, I had to get this £30,000 to go back and, you know, be famous.
Yeah.
And then how did that come around? 6 months. I actually went back to being a care assistant in the middle of that.
Yeah, right.
I was always working. Sometimes I had 2 jobs. And then I was actually going out with a guy at the time, and well, I wasn't really. He was trying to get me back, and he was like, "Oh, I know of this job up in Port Hedland."
Right.
He was in Port Hedland. I know of this job, and I had no intentions of pursuing this.
Yeah, yeah.
Mind you, but I was 100% going to take the offer on the job. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, and it happened like that.
Right.
I didn't have tickets, so I had to go and scurry. I had all this experience over the past year and a half, but I didn't have tickets, so I had to scurry and get tickets and get up to site. And that was my first, and that was 2 weeks before. I only got one swing in before my 2 years were going to be up.
Right.
So this company took a shine into me, and they put me through a project management course. So I went on a student visa, and I was working in Port Hedland for doing 20 hours a week, getting $700 a week for like however long, like a year.
Right.
Like I wasn't making anything, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
God, I thought I was going to go to the mines and make money.
Yeah,
I'm
make heaps, yeah.
less money now
Yeah.
up here. And then they ended up putting me through for PR.
Nice.
And I ended up in like a management role in there. And once again, it was a small, so it was a management role, but it was a small company. So it's not as if I was managing that many people. But so I don't want people to think, oh, like she was managing a bit. I wasn't.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
There was probably 10 people in the business.
Okay.
And then they were so good to me. I still talk to them now. They're like Aussie parents.
Yeah,
so
right.
I got my PR, no sponsorship.
Yep.
I did project management in college, and I had a really good visa agent. And the points that I needed certain points to be, the only thing on the list was a secretary to the director. So I got PR as an admin to the director, but the points that the project management course had the equivalent points
Right. Okay.
to suffice that that path, and I got PR, no sponsorship within 2.5, 3 years.
Brilliant.
That was unheard of. People were like,
Yeah.
that's not possible. I took the plan. So the visa agent was super expensive, and I couldn't afford him. So he gave me the plan, and I was like, I really can't afford you. So I took this to other companies, and I told them this.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't afford to pay you. I've been working for $700 a week, and I took it to a couple of immigration lawyers, and they were like, this isn't possible.
Right.
And I was like, it is possible. I don't take no for an answer either. I was like,
Brilliant.
look into it. It's possible. And then it was. So I was actually the first person to get PR through that company.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
So, and then that was at the start of the downturn. So
Right, okay.
then mining was kind of shitting itself, and I was like, oh my god, I've just got this permanent gig,
Yeah, yeah.
and this company's about to go bust. And they actually did. Their clients didn't pay them, and they had to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So we all kind of lost our jobs,
Yeah.
and I was sitting back in Perth again, no money. Still hadn't got into the mines, but at least I had the PR pathway.
Yeah.
So then it was off to Sydney, and that was when I went there for 5 years.
Yeah, right.
Everyone
okay.
was leaving here then.
Yeah.
And you probably remember that when everyone kind of.
No, I didn't come here till 2018, so I was
Oh,
before me. I was probably
okay.
came in the middle of that 5 years you were away then.
Yeah.
So what was it like then? You've got the experience now in the mines, and you go back over to Sydney. What sort of job opportunities did that open up over there for you?
I actually think it was so much easier in Sydney.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I think that I got treated a bit better in Sydney.
Okay.
Like, I don't think there was as much. I think everyone's so busy over there, and it's a lot of small businesses, and they don't want to know. Just get it done.
Yeah, right.
They don't care who you are, as
Yeah.
long as. And I felt like they didn't care who I was, and they took me at face value. So went. I went straight into driving trucks that time round for an agency, and now one thing is that I wasn't getting paid the same as the boys, which bugged the shit out of me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I was like, I've spent all of this time over east or over west and on this big gear, and I'm over here now, and these young lads are doing the same job as me, and I'm getting paid less. So I don't know how I found out, but I went up to the boss, and I was like, hey, these guys are getting X amount. I was like, what are you paying the guy that employs me? And he was like, oh. I goes, well, would you pay me a couple of dollars less, and I'll work for you direct through my own business? I was like, yeah. And that was it.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, then I was getting actually more than the boys then, because I was working
Yeah, right.
for myself.
See, that's smart as well, because then you find an avenue. You're like, I'm not happy with this one thing, and rather than bitch and moan and think you can do nothing about it, you're like, I'm gonna find a way to get on the same page, you know.
There is always a way, and sometimes that goes to my detriment, and my parents would probably go, "You are a nightmare." Like, I'd say I was the worst child ever. I know I was. Like, no was not in my vocabulary at all. Thank God. So that's, yeah, I suppose a bit of a superpower, and kind of a wee bit of a what's the word? One of goes to my detriment sometimes as well. But
Yeah, right.
I have to go with it.
So then, 5 years in Sydney, what made the decision to come back? Because that must have been around the time of COVID then, if you're talking about doing 5 years from
That's exactly when it was. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
Was that because of COVID, or did you get back before COVID ended up kicking off?
I was in the middle of I had a business in Sydney, so that was a start. Me putting myself in underneath that contractor was the start of it, and then all these guys I was working with must have been telling their girlfriends or their friends in the pub, and all these girls were just ringing me, and they're like, there was no girls operating then.
Yeah, right.
And they were like, can we come to work with you or whatever? And these companies we were working with were still kind of pretty, there wasn't much safety.
Yeah, right.
Subdivisions out west. So I was taking girls to work with me on Saturdays. I was asking the bosses, can these girls come in and just, hang out with me and watch? And then I'd be like, I'll call them up on the radio, or call them, and I was like, can I let them drive? Like, I reckon they're going to be all good, and they'd be driving, and I'd be just cruising beside them.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was getting them jobs with these companies, and I was like, hang on a wee minute. The next time one of the owners of the company asked one of my trainees, did they want a job? I was like, yeah, but she works for me. And then within that 5 years, we went on to have about maybe 30 girls working for us.
Wow,
yeah.
great.
So that happened, and that kept me in Sydney.
Yeah.
I'd never intended on staying there that long. It was kind of, I always knew Perth was home.
Yeah, okay.
I always knew I'd come back and settle here, and I hoped to buy a house here, which we were able to do as well. So, but at the time, that was working. There was no work over here. So, yeah, that business was called Cailin.
Right.
So there's two girls in that one.
Yeah.
And it kicked off, and completely winging it. I was 24, and we were making big coin.
Yeah.
But that ended up in tears.
Right.
So I wouldn't advise partnerships to many, many people. It's a hard kind of space. Things change, I think, when you go into partnerships.
Yeah. Okay.
And I lost everything. So I had to come back.
Right.
I came back with my tail between my legs, with nothing. I left all my friends in Sydney. And once I heard that the borders were closing, my gym actually closed. And I was like, I cannot get locked down here. I was the only single one in the group. I was living with two couples. I was like, I can't get locked down in this apartment with two couples.
Yeah. Right.
And I can't be in this place anymore around this, toxicity. And I knew that the business was only going one way. And I'd known that for a while. I was watching. I was silently watching what was going on for quite a while. And in that space that I was watching, I had all the information that I needed and my ducks in a row. And the minute that I was gone, I froze everything. And it was, we started trying to shut up shop, basically. So I knew that the mines would never shut.
Yeah.
I was like, surely the mines can't stop during this time.
Yeah.
So as soon as my gym closed, I booked a flight, and we actually had a job in Melbourne at the time that all of our girls were too afraid to go down to because they were afraid of not getting back. And I was like, I'm out of here. 2 big suitcases with all my... I didn't tell anyone. My friend came home and she's like, where are you going? I was like, I'm out of here. I have to go.
Right.
And gone. And I did that a lot. I moved when, and I didn't think about it. I just went.
Yeah. Fair.
So, and then came back here and thought it was going to be as easy to get going again here as it was in Sydney, and it wasn't. It was so hard. So hard. But I was dealing with a lot of stuff at the time. Obviously I was going through the worst possible thing that could happen. You've lost everything.
Yeah.
You've lost friends, you've left a lot of friends as well, and your comforts, and no money. And then it was a dark time. I'm thinking, how the fuck did I let this happen?
Yeah.
I watched this happen. How did this go so? And I beat myself up for so long, and I had to sit in that victim kind of mentality for a while until I could just kind of forgive myself and everybody else that did me wrong. And that took a while. It took about 2 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that was COVID-19. I just got in, start of 20.
Yeah.
And then that didn't settle till 21-ish. And then, but I still hadn't really set up this business either. I was back working for someone. I was afraid to work for myself in case someone tried to take that from me as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of fear to overcome when something has sort of collapsed and been pulled out from underneath you like that.
You've lost everything, and then are they going to come for more? Like, are they going to try and take, what's not theirs? So I went back working on the field and had to prove myself again. Nobody knew me, and I had to go back till, like, I wasn't Cailin anymore. People knew me as Cailin in Sydney.
Yeah, right.
And I was just Niamh, who had just landed in WA.
Yeah,
and
right.
you had to start again. So I remember getting turned down for trainer assessor roles. They're like, no, you don't have enough experience. And I was like, man, I've been training people for 5 years, and during that 5 years I was still operating. When we were running labour hire, so we were training and labour, I was covering all the shifts and operating on the rail and all this equipment, and covering the shitty shifts that no one wanted to do.
Yeah,
so I was still current. I was still actually operating, and now they find it hard to get a go.
Yeah,
don't have enough experience. Don't have mining experience. I was like, man, like, what do I have to do here? How did I end up? I'm trying to think how I ended up getting in through a dodgy guy. Once again, how do I meet all these
something
dodgy...
happening here with your personality.
I know I hadn't done all the work. So I was attracting all of this I really was.
Right.
During that whole time, even though there's so much positive that came out of it, and I've used, like there's been a lot of toxic fuel in that time to get to this point, but I was attracting so many bad people.
Yeah, right.
And I think because I had no self-worth, and after everything that had happened, I was still attracting bad relationships, bad companies, bad bosses, and but I got in, and that was and then once I got in, that guy, he went under.
Right.
That took me in, and then another company seen me, and they snapped me up, and I was with them for nearly 3 years.
Wow. Okay.
And I was contracting to them when I could. Once that whole thing in Sydney settled, and I was able to get everything that was mine. I was able to get the business pretty much back.
Yeah.
Once that settled, And then I, yeah, so I was super. So I went from trainer assessor and till a supervisor, earthwork supervisor, in that 3 year period. Yeah, that would take us up to 6 years here now. This time, 3 years. But still, that whole 3 years, I was trying to hustle to get back in.
Yeah, okay.
Trying to get the business going again. Nah, labour hire. Nah, everyone's doing it. And that's why I had to diversify and just go into training.
So obviously, it's something that I guess if you had like say 30 girls on site in Sydney at one stage, you were doing all the training, like you say, you take them out for a little ride and right, I think they can drive. Can we get them on here? And you're sort of watching and you're doing the training and assessing bit for pretty much all of those girls then to get them ready for it. How do you know you're sort of good at that then, like good enough to then obviously go in like you are now?
The girls were good.
Yeah, okay.
So all of I worked for that labour hire guy the first time around, that where I started up, and he had all these clients, and all of those clients ended up being my future clients.
Okay.
And all of my trainees ended up being my past employers and my current clients, new employees, and some of the girls had been with them for years.
Yeah, right.
And they grew and grew, and we started the girls off on, entry level money. And one thing, I never started them on big rates. I started them and they always got bonuses and they always got incentives. They always got upskilled, more tickets, more training. And we had really good retention. We had good teams. And I suppose I just knew it worked. Now, to be fair, when I turned around in the middle of this and I said, I'm going to go do my training and assessing, and I'm going to set up a company from start to finish. They're going to come to us, we're going to train them, ticket them, and they're going to go out to work for us. And someone laughed at me and were like, why would you, what? Where did you get this idea from? And that person that laughed at me went and told one of our clients that I was going to do this. And the client said, that's a brilliant idea. And then this person came back to me and said, oh, I want to do that too. So I knew it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And I knew the girls were good. And I am so obsessed with everything that I do. And I am a perfectionist. And I drive myself crazy. I love procedure. I love doing things the way they're meant to be done. And I was getting noticed for it. I was always the one picked to do certain jobs or the difficult jobs. And so I knew the things that I was teaching people were good and right. And then they went on to be really great operators as well.
Yeah.
So then it was always a training thing. Even though the business in Sydney wasn't about training, it was more like bringing women in and getting them work and getting them a safe place to work in the industry.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually about training. It was just part of the process.
Sure.
And then when I came here, I was like, I need to double down on this training, because that was one thing that I was actually good at, and no one else is doing it.
Yeah.
Even though they say they're doing it, no one else was actually doing it. So I knew that had to be the space, and then it kicked off. Like overnight, it just blew up, and then I knew that we were onto something.
So let's talk about the name of the business, right? Because very Irish name, and you've got all these companies over here, and there's a huge Irish community. There's also you've got your Indigenous communities and Indigenous named, and you've got just normal English sort of names. Why did you choose a very Irish name whenever you set up in Sydney with the Cailin name, and then obviously over here then?
I just remember even when I had this idea about Cailin even before I met my business partner, even when I was in WA the first time, when I was still learning. I remember finding it so hard to stay in the country, and I was just like, why did it take me 2 years? Why was this so hard? Why, I was treated like one of the boys my whole life until I came to Western Australia, and then I was different, and I just couldn't compute that. I just couldn't comprehend that. So it was always I was going to do something for the girls, always. And that was the premise behind the first business. That's always what it was about, was empowering women, because it wasn't really happening back then. When COVID hit, everyone was doing it because everyone was locked in this state, and we needed people on site, and everyone was leveraging off it. So I couldn't leverage off the female thing anymore.
Yeah, right.
After COVID and I was here, that's another reason why my business model didn't work in WA, because the big boys were doing it. FMG, Rio, BHP, everyone was doing it. So I had no power. I had no leveraging anymore.
Yeah, right.
So I had to find that little part where I could leverage, and it was off actual real training.
Yeah.
But the female thing was, I just felt like that was always going to be the name of the business, always. And I liked that people didn't know what it meant, so that you weren't being discriminated against. So it was just like, people think it's my name. People call me Cailin.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, and I've recently done a YouTube on like why it's called Cailin Mining and Civil and what Cailin means. And my name's not Colleen or Cailin.
Yeah.
It means girl. So, yeah, it was always going to be that. And I thought about changing the name, but I don't know. It's just, I did enough. I changed the logo. The logo used to be like a harp. I'm so Irish and so drink orientated. I'm like, no, we're not about that.
Yeah, everyone thinks it's a Guinness. Or a...
Oh, you're the company with the Guinness harp. No, it's changing. So I love our new logo now.
Yeah, it's good.
But
nice colours pop off as well on the shirt as well.
So it was always going to be, about the girls, I suppose. And then when we started, I keep saying we. I've always said we. I can't do it on my own. Like I do have a team, and when I started Cailin Mining and Civil, I thought it was going to be girls. That's why I kept the name.
Yeah.
And it was shocking. It's not just girls that want to learn. Like, and I had a company that wanted me to go hard on the female thing, and I was like, ugh, I hate pink. I've never been a girly girl.
Yeah.
Like, I want everyone to be equal. I want to empower everyone. Like, I want everyone to be on the same even keel that I thought I was on when I landed in this country. I don't want to, home in on just women and it's all pink and like, because the women on site aren't pink. We just want to be the same. We want to be treated equal. So that's why I didn't go hard on the pink thing, and thank God I didn't, because we've got an even percentage of men who come to get trained. Brilliant. And we've got men trainers and we've got men employees. So
yeah, brilliant.
It's always been an equality thing, like, for me.
So where did it come from, like the drive to, drive heavy machinery on site? Like, because I guess there's loads of ways you could have went to the mine. I know some Irish girls who went up and they were cleaners, for example, or you could go into like the hospitality side, or like, where did that come from? Because that's something that we probably, as a culture, we're not really exposed to back home. Like, if you think about the people we went to school with, the majority of girls probably go into retail or accounting or law or these different sort of degrees. But like, even when I came out here, I remember like seeing girls driving utes, and I'd be like, that's just something you wouldn't see back home. I was like, what? Why is that woman driving that fucking, like, it's a normal ute? And it's something I see every day, and I'm like, that's mad that I used to think that was weird.
Yeah.
But where did this drive come then for you to come out and be like, no, I'm gonna just fucking drive the heavy machinery? Like you said, there wasn't many people doing it at the time.
At the start, it wasn't about the machinery. It was about getting the money to get to RADA in London. And then when I realized how hard it was, I started being this real feminist. And I was like, what is going on here? Why can I not do this? Why will this industry and this place not allow me to do something that's, like, I wanted to make that money. And then and I'm very rebellious, and I don't know, is it the ADD? I don't know, is it just how I was brought up? But I will test everyone and the norms, and when someone tells me I can't do something, it just drives me mental. So I think a lot of it, probably at the time, was a lot of toxic fuel. I'd say a lot of it was, I'm going to do this because you told me that I couldn't do it, and I'm going to be great at it, and I'm going to be the best at it, and you're going to regret not, giving me a chance. And that, I think, for a very long time was at the start, was the fuel. And then when I got in, I was like, oh, I love doing something that I'm not meant to be doing. This is kind of fun. And I love that people, underestimated me, and then they're like, oh, she's good or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's keep her. And I love that feeling of, I think everyone just wants to be good enough, don't they? Everyone wants to be enough. And when I was good at operating equipment, I was enough. And I was the one that people wanted. Even when I went to Sydney, they wanted me on their crews, and not in an arrogant way. I just did things right.
Yeah, fair.
And I suppose I got a bit of a kick out of it. It probably was a bit of I was kind of nearly addicted till being good and being probably the center of attention, and that's maybe why, probably comes back to why I probably wanted to be famous, and I wanted to be this thing, and I just always wanted to be the best.
Yeah, fair.
And I wanted in that the best, but because I was not entitled to it, I wanted to be the best but because I wanted to get jobs because I was the best, not because I was a female or because
Sure.
I wanted to earn it. And then that was where the equality thing came in, and that's when the whole female colony came in and the business started, because I just couldn't understand why me knowing that I'm good at this, but I was getting discriminated against. I just couldn't fathom this.
Yeah, sure.
I wanted everyone to be equals, and that was kind of a big. So it was. I think it was more about the psychology behind it. I don't know if it was. Did I ever set out like I never dreamt to be a truck driver, machine operator.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just. It's the whole psychology. I think that goes with it, and it just happened. And when you're good at something, I suppose you kind of just keep doing it, don't
Yeah,
you?
fair.
Kind of how I ended up in the training.
Yeah,
Like,
fair.
oh God, like I'm good at this training now. I just have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Is this what my life is? So I don't know. It's but you get that feedback. It's not like I'm just saying, oh, I'm good at this. The feedback you get from online, your peers, your employers,
Yeah.
your pay packet reflects your work and the quality of your work. So it's not that I'm branding myself at that. The feedback is that this is a good product and the business is good and it's what people want.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, and obviously the training side of things now. So how do things look now in terms of the setup? And let's talk about maybe what you guys offer, but also then imagine, right, let's just say tomorrow I decide, fuck it, I've had enough of doing what I'm doing. I'm going to go up to the mines and I want to go to you for training because you're clearly good at it. What's the services that you offer for people in that avenue then?
So our unique selling point is that we are on a live site. So from the minute you book, you start getting your inductions, you start getting your paperwork, all the requirements that you need to be actually on site. If you don't have your PPE, you don't get on site. If you haven't done your inductions, you don't get on site. So it's a live site, and if our students book full courses, they can return for free to build up their experience. So that's our niche, and that's our unique selling point. Unlimited return for free. So our students can return in the gaps, and that's where they're building up their time.
Yeah, right, okay.
So you could see students for months.
Yeah, okay.
And they're the students I love because they're doing exactly what I had intended the visits to be. They're getting no one can get experience. How do you get experience without experience?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're providing that.
Brilliant.
So and we have 5. We trialed a lot of equipment, and our 5 most popular were roller, water cart, Moxie, articulated truck, excavator, and loader. So we did a lot of trial and error, and you just stick to what works, and they are the 5 that were most popular.
Yeah, okay.
So we just honed in on those, and people just see us online, and I suppose they relate to us and to what we're and because we're different, I suppose, as well.
Yeah.
And they just come along, and then their journey begins.
Brilliant. And
Yeah.
what's the most popular, like, is there like a basics and then it goes to the more advanced machinery, or how would that journey then go for somebody who says, even take me out of it, say somebody just lands in Perth, say from Ireland, because most people want to come out and work in the mines. What's the ideal sort of journey, and what's the ideal course to get them the basics then?
So when we started the training company, we just had one machine, so it was the roller, and then we trialed another one, which was the Moxie, and then I trialed the water cart, and they were all big sellers, so I just decided to put them all together.
Okay.
Because they're 3 entry-level machines, and in my eyes, I would employ someone that could operate 3 entry-level machines over 1. So this is a starter bundle that is our most popular and our best seller, I suppose, as well. And it prepares them to be versatile and to operate more than one thing. Or they might realise that they're not very good at one of them, and they'll know then what they are. They can position themselves where they are actually, where they're good. But that's our most popular starter bundle.
Okay. And how long does it take to go through that little bundle then?
So it's funny. We have 2 different options. So we have 1 day and 2 day.
Okay.
So the 2 day is where they can return for free to get their time. But the training doesn't stop after. We're trying to get them competent so they can come back. So once they're deemed competent, they can come back and filter in. Like, they're passed off, they're ticketed and VOC'd. They know what they're doing. They've got that independence. Then they come back and they filter into our training schedule and the whole workspace, and they can do jobs and stuff for us. We can ask them to move something. Um, that's the idea. So we get them competent in that 1 day or 2 days,
Yeah.
and so they can come back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea. And the people that, and some people aren't.
Sure.
And that's also why I set up this business, because it was people I had on site as a manager and a supervisor that should never have been there,
Mm.
and they were putting us all at risk. And I don't say that like it was honestly like operating a 100-ton truck on 60-meter batters is no joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who wants to end up in prison over that?
Yeah, yeah.
So I just thought, like, how can someone just hand these tickets and like not think about any of us on site, not think about the supervisor, superintendents, PMs, or GMs, or even the owners. I just couldn't fathom that. Maybe because I was a business owner.
Yeah. So by hiring somebody who comes in through yours, technically what you're saying is they're trained to a higher level. You know that they're going to be fully competent,
Mm-hmm.
and that they've had time on the machinery through the unique sort of little setup you've got then.
They've had more than 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's less risky as a hire then.
Yeah. But it's like we're trying to change a culture.
Mm.
Cailin Mining and Civil isn't just a training company. We are trying to change a systemic issue in this industry, and it's the training industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's been corrupt for how long, and not one person can change this. I can't do it on my own. I actually need companies to start going, like, have a bit, if something happened, and if something happened, and I'm trying to be careful what I say here in case I get in trouble, but hypothetically speaking, if the people doing the wrong thing were caught out, all of these companies are exposed.
Mm.
What happens if ASQA turn around and say, no, null and void all of those qualifications for these people that were ticketed in 15 minutes?
Mm.
Like, what if they actually did that?
Yeah, yeah.
Every single company would be exposed.
Yeah.
Apart from the company that are employing our people.
Yeah.
So I am trying to change a culture, and it's so difficult.
Mm.
It's education as well. Like, there's only so much education you can do in these short form videos, and people expect the ideal customer, they expect that every single training company, because it's national qualifications, it's a national training, that every single company has to deliver to the same standard.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not the case.
Yeah, right.
Should be, but it's not the case. So that makes it very difficult for us, because how training companies make money is numbers, group training.
Yeah.
Like, we've had to diversify our business to make more money, because there is no money in doing the training that we're doing. We have machinery that we hire out. We put trainers out on site. Like, we have other avenues. So there's more to it, and I just wish that we could change it, but I just don't know if I know I can't do it on my own.
Sure.
So.
And that's obviously one challenge, Niamh, but like, you've had businesses before in Sydney, but this is a completely different business. So apart from changing that culture, which is obviously it's a huge challenge to tackle yourself, but what's been the sort of business owner challenges that you've sort of faced over the 2-3 years that you've been operating? Is it like finding the staff? Is it finding the people to do the courses? Is it getting your name out there and networking? Like, that's just a couple of
Do you
examples.
know what? It's not even those things. It's things that you wouldn't expect, and it's more. I find buying equipment difficult as a woman.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's an interesting one.
The first couple of buys, my last buy was the experience was horrendous. A company sold me a machine knowing that it was not fit for purpose, and I was lumped with this machine for 6 months, paying for this thing. We lost about 100,000 in sales.
Oh man.
I was paying for that machine. I eventually had to, all the money that we were pumping into trying to repair the bloody thing, it was never right from the minute it landed. And then I had to actually hire in another machine, so I was paying for 2 machines, all this downtime. That was one of the most difficult parts, because then we have to get lawyers involved.
Yeah, right.
So that was going legal. The second, no, that would be the second. That would be the second hardest thing. The hardest thing is the backlash be surprised at the amount of backlash that, or maybe you wouldn't. I don't know if you look at our socials. I don't look at the comments anymore, but the amount of backlash from people who think I'm like the other training companies. And because, once again, it's a culture, it's systemic, like this has happened forever, where training hasn't been the way it should be. People then brand me with that brush as well.
Yeah, fair.
That's been hard. And another, that like the kickback is hard. And then obviously me being very different, I'm upsetting people as well.
Yeah, right, okay.
I'm upsetting a lot of others, and those people are trying to silence me.
Yeah, okay.
So a lot of people wouldn't know this. I haven't spoken about this online before, but one of the hardest things I think was last year. A company came after me online publicly,
Right.
and they at this point, other training companies, they had all grouped together to. It's like, to me, from the outside, it looks like unity, like we'll stick together.
Yeah, right.
And we'll go against her. And they somehow were able to get an Irish group online to get in on this.
Right, okay.
So this is actually not a conspiracy. This happened
Right.
last year. Probably one of the hardest things I actually went through in this business this time round. And this business, separate to the Irish community, this business separate took videos of me from online and put them together, snipped them together, and made a false narrative about me. And
Right.
he posted 4 different videos. I'm actually nervous to talk about this because I
Yeah,
don't
right.
talk about it online because I'm afraid of what will come back. So 4 these videos went up on YouTube, and he had about 15,000 followers. And then, because I had such a following, it was such a big thing then. In my head, it was a big thing. Probably not, like, for in real terms, but it went up on a Friday night. Then he posted it on TikTok, every social media platform, shorts of it,
Yeah.
trimmed down. And it was actually a conversation. It was a podcast, and it was a conversation with these people, how much they hated what I was doing, and
Yeah.
hated me, and that I was this and I was that. And to this point, I read comments. This was April last year, 4th of April. I'll never forget it. And to this point, I managed all the social media myself. That happened on the Friday night, and I didn't see it. And then my phone goes in do not disturb. So everyone was contacting me. The Saturday morning, I woke up, and my phone was going mental. Steve's phone was going mental, and we seen these videos, and they were bad. Now, I felt like I needed to go in there and defend myself, so I did. I started commenting, which made it worse.
Yeah, right.
So everyone was like, but hadn't I? It's hard not to read the comments, especially when that's happening and you can't control. And the minute that happened, that Saturday morning, I had undone all of the work that I had done on myself after losing my first business. And I was taken right back to that point where I lost my first business. I was like, these people are trying to silence me, and they're trying to take away what I've worked so hard for.
Yeah.
And I had no control. I actually started to spiral, and I just felt like, fuck, I've gone back 5 years in time. Like, this is insane. So I didn't sleep for about 3 days.
Wow.
These things stayed up online. There was so much support, which I needed probably this to happen to realise how much support I actually had. But the disappointing thing was I didn't have the support from that Irish page online where they allowed the post to stay up. And that post stayed up on the Irish page for about 24 hours. And they wouldn't let, I don't know what they have in their sentence, but they wouldn't let anyone comment. No one could say anything positive about and defend me.
Yeah, right.
And all the people that were supporting me they were getting, you could see that and I wasn't saying anything at this point. I hadn't said anything from like the first hour on the Saturday morning. And everyone that had trained with me, my friends, like fellow businesses, fellow competitors came in to intervene and were like, this is a disgrace that, number one, this post is allowed to stay up. I was being slated, slandered, defamed, like pure lies.
Yeah.
And then some people I didn't even know were writing posts on this Irish page to say, this is a disgrace. What's happening here? We can't even defend her.
Yeah.
Why are we not allowed to defend this company? Why can we not tag? Why can we not?
Yeah.
And
Right.
they were, and it came out. It was, and thank God it happened, because people could actually see that this group and this page don't want me to promote the training that I'm doing.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
So what was the reasoning for the? Do you ever get an explanation? Is it because they thought the video was true and they didn't realize it was like doctored, or what? Like, why would they?
I asked the admins why they let that video stay up. I was like, you don't let anything positive be said about me. You don't let me tag people in posts. You don't let anyone tag Cailin Mining and Civil. But
Yeah.
you let that video, the defamatory video, that was actually taken down for defamatory reasons off YouTube.
Yeah. Right.
And on that other guy who actually started it, taken off his socials as well for defamatory and legal reasons.
Mm.
You can't doctor someone's words.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just said, oh, we didn't see it.
Like all these comments and everything, and they not have seen
And I'm
it.
like, well, you've seen all the times that anyone was trying to promote me. You've seen that.
Yeah.
So that was the hardest thing I think that I've had to deal with
Yeah. Right.
after losing the first business.
And that's huge. Like that's
Well,
not.
think in a whole
something small.
community. Think in a
Yeah.
whole community. The community that you predominantly set this up to help.
Yeah.
Like my first year, it was all Irish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then a lot of copycat businesses set up, and I had to diversify my market, and I had to pivot that very, very quickly.
Mm.
And especially because after that first year, that Irish page wouldn't allow me to promote on there anymore, and it was only promoting the other businesses.
Mm.
So I had to diversify. You know, I'd say my market now is Australian, New Zealand, people who come in from Europe, and then a small portion of Irish. But it's
Yeah.
not.
Right.
That's been the hardest thing, thinking that a whole group of people, like there's 60,000 people on that page,
Yeah. Right.
thinking that potentially 60,000 people hate you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all you're trying to do is like do what's right, morally right, so that these people who want to get into mining are getting proper training, and they're not being, you know, manipulated by price, or they're not being extorted because these companies want to, you know, capitalize on numbers and lack of education on these new starters' behalfs. So hardest thing hands down was that. And
Yeah.
it's
Right.
still kind of in my head. And I was telling you about the thing I said yes to yesterday. You know, I was asked by an Irish pub to come in.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the anxiety, I was like, God, am I going to do this? Like, and I know my rational mind tells me that surely there's not 60,000 people that hate me, but your brain doesn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
When you have that, like, that 3 days of, like, and you know what, there was so much support. And there was more support than hate, which is the scary thing. You don't focus on you only
There we
focus
go.
on the negative. So that has been to date, and still, I suppose, is the hardest thing,
Yeah.
that there's a group of people that have gone against me for doing the right thing, and they continue to try and silence me online.
But it shows that you're doing something right, mate. You
I
know, the
know.
fact, well, one, the fact that everyone jumped to your defense, the people
Mm.
who actually know, but also the fact that they created what is essentially like a hit piece to try to take you down. It shows that you're successful, you're liked, and you're a threat to them. So,
I did see a thing the other day. If people will try and destroy you if you are a threat to them.
yeah.
It's not easy though.
Yeah.
It'd
no,
be
it's
easier
not,
just to
no.
be, and you know what? It's so easy just to be like everyone else. It is
Yeah.
so easy to just set up the same thing and not go against the grain.
Yeah.
That's easy. But it's not easy to go against every single person that's doing the wrong thing out there. But I'm never gonna not speak up and do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm never gonna just conform because everyone else is doing it. Like, that's
Yeah.
just not me.
And it hasn't set you back in the
No.
sense that it hasn't slowed anything down. You're still pushing on. You're thinking about goals for 2026. Like you said at the start, this is your year saying yes to more things,
Yeah.
and you've clearly got big plans in place. So the good thing is that they tried to take you down, but they haven't, and you're just going to keep pushing forward.
Where do we stay after this video now? Oh, and I haven't spoken about it for these reasons, because I don't want to bring it back up. And when I tell my boyfriend I spoke about that, he is going like, you are a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
Why do you? And he thinks that he is such a conformer, and I'm not. And he just thinks, you are putting yourself out there. I goes, but you have to.
Yeah.
He goes,
Yeah.
you're talking about this stuff online, and you're annoying people. and people are, hitting back at you, and I was like, but I'm not gonna pretend that it's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not gonna pretend to be like everyone else. I can't. I would sooner shut down the business
yeah,
than do what everyone else is doing.
yeah,
So I either talk about the realities and be different and authentic. Well, there's a reason other people can't talk online about what they're doing, but I will continue to talk about what we're doing.
yeah.
And even if it causes me sleepless nights, but I don't read the comments anymore, so I'm fine.
Yeah, well, that's a huge
Yeah.
mental win in itself. That you don't even get dragged into that anymore, and you can
Yeah.
just focus on growing
And let people go.
training
It's
people.
good for the algorithm.
Yeah,
Let them
yeah,
go.
100%, 100%.
Maybe I will just send or post some things that cause war, but nah. So yeah, it's a journey. It is business is not easy, but
No,
it's worth it.
but let's move forward to something positive then, because obviously that's a big mental drain on you and your energy,
Mm.
and we don't want to take that energy into our lovely start to 2026 now.
No.
So, what is on the cards for 2026 for Cailin and yourself now as well?
What is on the cards? So we're doing a lot more machine hire.
Okay.
So I can continue to provide this training. It's hard to be competitive when the market is the way it is. So we are putting more trainers out onto mine sites.
Mhm.
So we do that as well. They go in and do VOCs, any ticket in on site. And what else is happening? There's probably things happening that more so from in my personal life. Like I am going to try and take a wee bit more of a step back, and to get through this and have longevity, I'm going to start doing things for me.
Mm.
Like I'm so obsessed with the business, and I've no balance, but I'm building a team that at Christmas they proved that they're amazing, and they
Yeah.
can, and I can let go of control, and they are. So I want to be like more of a overseeing, and they're going to be taking the reins, which they've proved that they can.
Brilliant.
And if I can do things for me, I can be better online for everyone else. I can be the best version of myself when I feel good about myself, and I'm doing my yoga, and I'm being, the best version of myself. I'm good for everyone online.
Brilliant.
Which then helps the business grow and be better. So there should be. I can't talk about all my plans because
Sure.
with ADD head, it would just maybe some of them might not happen. I try not to talk too much, which I unfortunately do all the time. But yeah, we're definitely expanding and diversifying so that we can keep this training coming, and hopefully try and change this culture and try and change this training industry.
Brilliant.
But I need everyone's help.
Well, listen, there's people listening, so if people do either want to book a course or people want to get in touch because they like you as a person or what you presented, or they want to find out about getting more of your trained people to their sites, what's the best way for anyone to get in touch?
So my LinkedIn, I actually posted about it the other day. My email or direct number, I
Okay.
suppose. Email's always monitored anyway, and not through the website because the forms, there's thousands and
Yeah,
hundreds
sure.
and thousands. But my email, or even just contacting me direct
Brilliant.
through LinkedIn, is probably the platform that has the least noise. The rest of them are fairly noisy. And
Perfect.
yeah,
Good stuff.
hopefully, yeah.
Good stuff. Well, listen, it's been probably about roughly an hour. I haven't even looked at the time. Pretty much coming on bang on an hour now. I've just looked at the clock. It's been fascinating to listen to your journey and how you've got into what I view, at least used to view, as a different path for a lady to go into,
Yeah.
obviously a woman to go into. But you've done great through your time here, and it sounds like you're doing fantastic things, and long may it continue, mate, because it sounds like you're really trying to push for higher standards, and that's only going to benefit everyone if that happens.
Agreed. If we can make places safer for everyone, maybe save some lives along the way, why not?
Brilliant. Brilliant. What I'll do is, this will be out in the next couple of weeks. I'll try to remember to put the contact details in, but if not, get people just to search your name on LinkedIn and they'll find you.
Just look me up.
Brilliant.
Reach out.
There we go. There we go. Thank
Thanks so
you,
much.
mate. I appreciate it. Hopefully it hasn't been too anxiety ridden.
Traumatic. Triggered. No, it's
But
good.
this will be up on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the good platforms in the next couple of weeks, and thank you for your time.
No worries.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Done.
Well, that got deeper than I thought, but
It's just that good side of me, bring out everyone's
thing is, I might get you to
Hey,
just in
how are
time.
we,